Silence in court.
The case before us this morning is that of John Steele, a boatman. Boatman could be anything to do with boats, boat repairs, fishermen, working in the boatyard, etc. John Steele, a boatman, is accused of attempting to murder his wife, Anethea Steele, on the 13th inst between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, he is also accused of attempting to commit suicide thereafter. Certainly a sorry affair if I'm any judge. And I am.
Call the first witness, Anethea Steele.
I swear by Almighty God that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I am the wife of the prisoner. I live at number 78 Mid Street, St Leonard's. The prisoner is a boatman. A boatman can
Yes, I've done all that.
On Sunday the 13th inst, between 8 and 9 o'clock in the evening, my husband went out, I believe to go to Hastings to see about his fishing. He came home between 11 and 12. We had a few words about us quarrelling overnight. I mean, we continued the quarrel we had overnight. He went out angry. Between 2 and 3 o'clock, I saw him again. I was in my bedroom. He was there when I went in. He was lying on the bed. He said, "Why the fuck have you not bought my dinner?" I said, "If you want your dinner, you must get up and get it. You never do have it here." He said no more, but he got up and struck me violently on the cheek. I could not see with what, but it felt like a knife. I felt a wound, my tooth knocked out and the blood flowing. I then saw a knife in his hand. He said nothing when he got up and struck me. He then struck me again, twice, also on the cheek. I then shouted, I think, "Murder!" and "Father!" And Mrs. Pearson came to my assistance. Mrs. Pearson was standing all this while at the bedroom door, and she saw it all. Before my father came, I ran downstairs. I met my father in the hallway as I was running away. As soon as he saw the blood, the prisoner let me go. My father went upstairs and I got into my living room, got someone to bathe my face and sent for Dr. Surgeon. I did not see the prisoner after.
Can you tell me, when he struck you, was he drunk or not?
It certainly was not drunk, sir. He had had a little beer.
How did he seize you?
He seized me with his right hand round my neck and struck me with his left. He is a left-handed man.
Mr. Bludgeon defending examined the witness at considerable length in the endeavour to show that the witness neglected her home, remained out late at night, and that she and her husband had frequent bad quarrels, especially about her acquaintanceship with a man named George. But all this the witness denied, and stated that she did not know that her husband was jealous, and that even if he was, there was not the slightest foundation for it. It appeared, however, that there was great incompatibility between the two parties.
Call Elizabeth Pearson.
Elizabeth Pearson, wife of a soldier stationed at Shoebury-Ness, corroborated the evidence of the previous witness.
Have you ever heard anything about a man called George?
No, sir, I have not.
Have you heard them quarrelling about any man?
I have heard them quarrelling, but I did not listen and do not know what it was about.
How long have you lived in the house?
About 10 months.
Have you heard them repeatedly arguing during that time?
Yes, sir, repeatedly.
Call James Manson, witness and father of the victim.
Prisoner's wife is my daughter, and she and her husband lodged in my house. I was out in the backyard when I heard her holler, "Murder! Murder!" and "Father! Father!" I ran to her assistance. I met her at the bottom of the stairs, and I could see she had blood flowing from her and a wound in her cheek. In consequence of what she said to me, I went upstairs to the prisoner's bedroom. The prisoner was lying on the bed with a knife in his left hand and blood on it. I saw at the same time he was bleeding from the neck. "What have you done?" I said. He made no reply. I took the knife out of his hand and said, "You lie there till the girl is seen to, and I'll call a policeman." I also found part of the tooth produced on the bed. I then gave the prisoner into the custody of Sergeant Constable.
Was this disturbance not occasioned by jealousy?
It might have been.
Have you ever stated that it was?
I believe it is. But he had no provocation, for if he had any proof of it, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Has he not lived all his life in Hastings?
I don't know, but he has lived in my house for 8 years since he was married.
Sergeant Constable gave evidence as being called to the premises on the Sunday afternoon, the 13th inst. He saw James Farrington and received from him the knife and piece of tooth produced. The knife had not blood on it then. In consequence of what he was told, he went to number 13, Mid Street, and there he found the prisoner in a room, insensible upon the bed. I examined the prisoner and his wife on the Sunday afternoon. I found the woman with 2 incised wounds on her cheek, one cut across the other, and the gum on the inside of the mouth was lacerated, and the gum bone was broken. The wounds were bleeding freely. They were about 5/8 of an inch long, and both were completely through the cheek. I dressed the wounds. The knife produced is just such an instrument that would cause those wounds. I also found the stump of the healthy broken molar tooth in diagonal line with the wound on the cheek.
Would it require much force?
I should say it would require very considerable force with such an instrument as the knife produced.
Was the wound dangerous to life?
If it had been 1/4 of an inch further back, it might have divided a duct of the salivary gland, and so have caused a fistulous opening for life.
Yes, that might disfigure her, but would it endanger her life?
No, considering the situation.
How do you plead?
I have nothing to say at present.
You will be committed upon this charge for trial at the assizes. You must now face the charge of attempting to take your own life.
Could you see that he was unconscious, Dr. Surgeon?
No, I could not. The comforter of the Guernsey protected the neck very much. I could not say how much blood he had lost as a consequence of that.
Were the wounds dangerous in themselves?
The neighbourhood which they were in made them dangerous, but they happened not to strike any vital part, but they were near to vital places.
Superintendent Glaister charged the defendant at the infirmary with attempting to take his own life. The prisoner made no reply when the warrant was read to him.
There might be a supposition that Wood attempted to take his own life, but the law does not support such suppositions. No jury would convict a man given on the evidence.
How do you plead?
I have nothing to say at present.
You will be committed to the assizes on both charges, and due to the serious nature of the charges, bail will be refused.
Justice Sabati Bogwood Bile.
John Steele, boatman, is indicted for stabbing Alethea Wood, his wife, with intent to murder. Also stabbing himself with intent to commit suicide at Hastings on the 13th of October, 1872. Mr. Smith appears for the prosecution and Mr. Jones for the defence. It appears from the evidence that the prisoner and his wife, at the time of the sad occurrence, lived together at number 78 Mid Street, St. Leonard's.
On Sunday the 13th of October, the prisoner left his home at about 9 o'clock and returned again about 11. Later in the day, his wife went upstairs and found the prisoner lying in his bed. He asked her to give him his dinner, and she replied, "You want it? Have it downstairs." A few words then ensued, and the prisoner caught hold of his wife, and the prisoner struck his wife twice with a large clasp knife in the cheek, just below the cheekbone, with such force the knife coming into contact with her upper tooth broke it in half. The tooth was perfectly sound. The wife called out "murder" and "father," and two persons came to her assistance, the blood flowing very freely from the wound, which, although very close to several vital parts, was not a dangerous one itself. Medical assistance was soon obtained, and the wound dressed. The prisoner found in number 13 Mid Street, lying in a room insensible, and was taken to the infirmary in consequence of wounds to his neck, which was supposed to have been inflicted by himself. The prisoner's wife had been married about 8 years, and had 4 children, the oldest being 9 years and the youngest 2. She returned to work a short time after the occurrence. The mark of the wound could easily be seen when she was in the witness box.
Mr. Smith has said that the evidence is of a very clear character and quite sufficient for the jury to come to a conclusion. Mr. Jones, in a rather lengthy and humorous, though pertinent speech, did address the jury for the defence and considered that the case was one of unlawfully wounding rather than attempt at murder, as there was no evidence to show that the prisoner intended to do his wife any grievous bodily harm. He considered it was an act committed in a time of passion and repented immediately after, and that the prosecution had failed to make the case. In summing up, I allude to the admirable speech of Mr. Jones and would point out that the question that the jury should have to consider was, what was the motive of the prisoner at the time he committed the act? I have reviewed the evidence at some length, explicitly explaining to the jury the various points. The jury found the prisoner guilty of unlawfully wounding, and I'm sentencing him to 18 months imprisonment with hard labour. The charge of attempted suicide will not be proceeded with. You may consider yourself a very fortunate person to have been treated so leniently.
I have nothing to say at present.